In today's video, I take a grueling 14-hour flight from Hong Kong to London in Cathay Pacific's brilliant Airbus A350-1000 economy on what would actually end up being one of the best flights of my life. So you'll find out why after more than 60 airlines, Cathay Pacific are one of my favourites, and also I'll show you a useful trick which helped me get one of the best seats on the plane completely for free. So buckle up and enjoy this Cathay Pacific trip report. And we start at an eye-wateringly early 5 AM in the morning in the impressive departure hall of Hong Kong Airport. This is actually my first time flying Cathay Pacific Economy long haul, though back in 2018 I did fly their business class from London to Tokyo via Hong Kong, and I remember those being some of the best flights of my life too. Just things like the cabin crew greeting me by name as I boarded, and being able to order a burger in the middle of the flight. Not to mention that was my first flight on an Airbus A350 too, and the seat is really good. Plus their business class lounges in Hong Kong are probably the best in the world. And up until that point in my life, I'd only flown business class with British Airways and Virgin Atlantic before, which I don't think are bad airlines per se, but flying Cathay was just such an eye-opener to what a real world-class airline is like. Anyway, all that to say, I was excited to be flying Cathay Pacific today, even if just in economy. Hong Kong Airport is pretty good too, and I think it's best summed up with one word: efficiency. Though I feel like for an airport of this size, there's actually not many shops or food, and worryingly the shopping area was filled with these Labubu statues. And here I was thinking that trend had died down by now, but clearly that's not the case in Hong Kong. As you can see here, the airport is also pretty big. My gate happened to be all the way over here, literally the furthest you can get from the entrance, so there was a lot of walking involved, and I was lugging about 15 kilograms of luggage around with me, so reaching the gate took a while. And yes, that much carry-on is vastly more than the 7 kilogram allowance Cathay give, but they don't weigh bags at the gate, and I wanted to bring home a lot of souvenirs and snacks. Anyway, now that the sun had started rising, I have to say Hong Kong Airport is amazing for plane spotting. There are so many wide-body aircraft here, including a whole fleet of 747 cargo planes, making it a feast for the eyes. And the backdrop of skyscrapers and mountains makes for a lovely view. In terms of seating though, there isn't that much by each gate actually, and I think if our plane was full, then there wouldn't have been nearly enough seats for everyone. Now here's our plane for today, a 7-year-old Airbus A350-1000 registered BXLI, which had just arrived a few hours earlier from Boston. It has 334 seats in total, 256 of which are in economy class. Also, this was the only one I caught on film, but I got a great view of many cool takeoffs whilst I waited for boarding to start. And start it did, about 45 minutes before scheduled departure. One way that Hong Kong Airport is living in the future is that they have these cool biometric gates, so you don't even need to show your passport and boarding pass. It just scans your face and lets you through after a few seconds. Hugely efficient and really speeds up boarding. Not that that was really necessary today, as the flight wasn't even half full. Now before we step on board, here are the stats and route map for today's flight, where we would actually take a pretty indirect route over North China, then around the Himalayas whilst avoiding Russia, to land slightly early with a flight time of 13.5 hours, but about 15 hours actually sat on the plane due to a slightly delayed departure. And as I alluded to in the intro, there's a good trick you can do with many airlines to find the best seat for free. Cathay Pacific actually let you view the seat map online right up until departure, and I saw that the best exit row seat, 60k, was still available but cost £156 extra, so I ignored it. And I thought I would be happy with the seat I'd been allocated, 46k, which is this locked-in window seat. But then the thought of spending 15 hours trapped by the window reminded me of this scene from White Lotus.
I just don't think, at this age, I'm meant to live an uncomfortable life. I don't have the will.
So I went to the gate agent, showed them the seat map, and asked them if I could have the empty exit row seat. And to my surprise, they did it for free very quickly, so that was great. You'll see how good this seat is in a moment, but moral of the story is, just keep an eye on the online seat map, and even if it's not an exit row seat, you should still be able to ask them to change to the best seat available. And even better, the 2 seats next to me ended up being empty as well, making this literally the best seating setup you can ask for in economy. Obviously all this was largely due to luck of having an empty flight, but hey, I'm just reviewing my experience and this is how it turned out. Now obviously legroom is fantastic, and in this seat you get direct aisle access too, and actually the non-exit seats are also pretty good with 32 inches of seat pitch and 6 inches of recline. The TV is a decent size 11.1 inches too, so overall a very competitive seat. You get quite a nice soft pillow, and no scratchy disposable cover here, and what is probably one of the better economy class blankets out there. Soft and very large, plus I had 3 of them since my row was empty. A well padded adjustable headrest, and a very nice wing view. Also, something pretty rare to see in economy class these days, they actually give you a printed menu, which first of all just feels a bit more premium, but it's also nice being able to read it and decide what you want to eat ahead of time, rather than making an on-the-spot decision when the food cart comes around. Also, the entire drinks menu is here, so you don't have to guess at what they have or don't have. They then give everybody a water bottle after boarding, vital on a long flight like this, and the headphones are actually pretty decent for economy class. Though I've recently started using this Bluetooth transmitter instead, which lets me connect my wireless headphones and makes for an infinitely better audio experience. Amazon affiliate link in the description if you want one for yourself. And this is the new Naked Gun movie, by the way. Extremely stupid, but I enjoyed it a lot. And that brings me to the IFE system, which is actually really good. So good in fact that Skytrax ranked them as having the best in-flight entertainment system of any airline in the world, and they basically have everything you could want, loads of movies in many different languages, a nice slick interface, TV shows, music, games, quality of life things like airport guides and connecting flight info, 2 external cameras in very high definition which I always enjoy watching, plus the in-flight map is pretty good too. And they also showed a full in-flight menu here in addition to the paper menu handed out during boarding. And the full Cathay Pacific shop, which has a satisfying range of quality looking branded merch. Boarding finished very quickly due to how empty the flight was, but the pilot announced a 40-minute delay due to, of course, air traffic restrictions over China, which seems incredibly common due to how restricted China's airspace is, and was mildly annoying, but we still ended up arriving 20 minutes early in London, so it wasn't the end of the world. And now here's the safety video, which I actually liked a lot. Makes me want to visit Hong Kong again and eat some clay pot rice with a side of egg tart and milk tea.
So please take a few minutes to watch the following videos as we present the safety features of this aircraft. Your seatbelt fastens and unfastens like this.
連有一張安全指示卡清楚列明救生衣嘅位置。各位旅途愉快。
Enjoy the journey.
After a bit of taxiing and some more waiting, we were finally ready for takeoff, and I definitely made the right seat choice on this flight, as the view of Hong Kong on takeoff was jaw-dropping. So get ready for that, coming up now. And there's something weird here I noticed, so genuinely curious if any pilots watching could explain. After fully raising the flaps, the pilots lowered them again, only to raise them a few seconds later. Here they are going down at quite an altitude after being fully raised. And here they are going back up again. Please leave a comment if you have any idea why. Anyway, apart from that, the views of Hong Kong taking off were incredible. The contrast of skyscrapers and mountains with the bay make for one of the best takeoff views in the world in my opinion. And here you can see Guangzhou, which is just an absurdly big city. And and it also has one of the busiest airports in the world, which you can see here. Pretty soon after takeoff, breakfast was served, and the service was rapid due to how empty the plane was. And I can report that this was easily the best airplane breakfast I've ever had, mainly because they had proper dim sum and it was actually really good, which I've never seen on a plane before. Also, metal cutlery make it feel fancy. There was a prawn dumpling, a meatball thing, and this yellow dumpling, all very tasty, then a well-seasoned congee, which I mixed the meatball into. They also give you a hand wipe, butter, jam, a bread roll which was actually warmed up, then lastly a strawberry yogurt, fresh fruit, and I got an orange juice to drink. Then on top of all that, I got a Hong Kong milk tea, which is pretty popular in Hong Kong, and also a unique thing offered by Cathay Pacific. Another cool feature of the seat is that they have a device holder built in, not so useful on the exit row seat, but it's well placed here on the regular seats. I got up to stretch my legs, and you can see here just how empty the plane was. Back here I would say maybe it was only about 20% full, with a lot of people just laying down on a full row. And I'm aware Cathay took a very big hit after COVID, but I'm surprised they still seem to be struggling to fill planes. Now for a loo review, and toothbrush kits are available, but I had to ask one of the crew for it, and the toilets were kept clean throughout the flight with the crew constantly going in to clean them. Also, this is by far the biggest sink I can remember seeing in a plane toilet, even when compared to most business class loos. Another nice quality of life feature is that they show you the flight timeline, letting you know when to expect food and drink services throughout the flight, and halfway through the flight it was time for meal number 2, and I got sweet and sour pork, pineapple, rice and vegetables. Then for a starter, a chicken and jicama salad, which I had to look up, apparently jicama is a vegetable from Mexico. Then fruit, Haagen-Dazs ice cream, and warm bread and butter to round things off, and ginger ale to drink. The cabin then stayed dark for pretty much the rest of the flight, and I ended up watching Mulan. If you get hungry or thirsty, there's a drink and snack stand in the galley, plus you can ask the crew to get you either cup noodles or a Hong Kong egg tart, and I got an egg tart, which was a nice mid-flight snack, and all I needed was the 2 main meals as they were tasty and filling enough. Then right before landing, the crew came round and handed out these palmier biscuits, which were also very nice. So overall, a fantastic flight when it came to food, and Cathay Pacific clearly know how to keep you well fed throughout a super long flight like this. We then began our descent into a very overcast London, which brings me to the very last feature of this review, the Wi-Fi. And all I can say here is that it exists, as it was too expensive for me to bother trying. It would be nice to see them catch up to many other competitors who offer free Wi-Fi like Qatar Airways or British Airways, but that's pretty much my only criticism with Cathay today. And now for the landing. It was raining when we landed, so the window instantly fogged up. But to summarise, if you couldn't tell already, I just really like Cathay Pacific, and they're probably my favourite airline, and this super long haul flight confirmed that for me. And as someone who mainly flies One World Airlines, Cathay are definitely my choice when flying to Asia if the price is right. Also, this was a personal record for me. It took maybe 4 minutes from stepping off the plane to passing through customs, and there was no queue at all for immigration. So that was very satisfying, and I just made a quick stop at M&F's to buy these cookies, which are the best in the world by the way, before heading home. I used miles to pay for this flight, and it cost a very reasonable 31,000 Avios plus £81. And sure, not everybody will be as lucky as me and get an almost empty flight to relax on, but I'm just judging based on my experience on this flight, so I'm giving Cathay an 82.5% and putting them at a 10 out of 10 on my airline tier list. The same rank as Singapore Airlines, who are a bit better if I'm being completely objective. But either way, I think Cathay have earned their place at the top of my list. And now if you're looking for something else to watch, then check out my recent review of Oman Air's business class, a super underrated airline with one of the best business seats out there and some fantastic food as well. As part of this trip, I also flew Oman Air's 787 Economy and Cathay Pacific's short haul A330, and I have many more videos in the pipeline, so don't forget to like and subscribe to stay up to date with all of that. Thanks for watching, and goodbye.